Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today on this FCS Direct webinar, Quoting Beyond Roofs. As you are aware, FCS Direct is a great tool for quoting roofing systems, be it commercial low slope, residential steep slope. But beyond that, we have the ability to quote any service that you offer your clients. Well, almost any service. So if you also offer your clients siding, gutters, windows, doors, patios, and decks, pretty much anything that you should want to be able to offer your client as a service, we have the ability to quote those within FCS Direct. Of course, it's going to take some setup in most cases to be able to perform that and get that going, but we're here as a service team to get you started and help you work through getting all of that setup created and done. The first thing I'm going to do before I show you that is where we have to go ahead and get that set up. If we go into the settings section here, we have a button called Systems. Within Systems, you're going to see we have some roofing sections, low slope, metal, steep slope, and gutters. In order to be able to quote something, we need to set up a system for it, and then we have to associate material through it. As a service team, we can help you get that done. Simply reach out to us and we'll help you set up your import to get your materials into the system and also your templates and everything else. But simply reach out to the support team. We're happy to help you get that started. Also, you can follow our webinar that was created earlier on creating custom templates and adding material. But I'm going to go ahead and focus on how we can actually perform and get the information together into the system to create a proposal for in this scenario, we're going to go over offering our customer a steep slope roofing proposal in addition to some gutters. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my properties button, and I'm going to go ahead and find my property. I'm going to find the Rizzo residence here. And one thing you want to notice here is when we look at the property, we have systems selected. We have gutters, metal, and steep slope roofing. So for this customer, I'm going to be able to gather the measurements for gutters, metal, and steep slope roofing. If I wanted to add a system to a property, if I didn't select it the first time, or if the customer had called later on and changed something, I can select the pencil button, and I could select or remove a system that I want to be able to add. I'm going to check my checkbox here to save it, and now I have that available. So I'm going to go ahead and perform an inspection now. I selected my inspection button. I'm going to start a new inspection. We're going to say this is for a gutters and steep slope. I'm going to assign my inspector, say who it's with, and I'm going to go ahead and perform my inspection. In order to save a little bit of time, I'm going to copy my previous measurements that I have done last time I was here at the property when I'm prompted by the system here. I'm going to go ahead and select yes. As always, you have multiple ways to gather information into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure my measurements are here. So I've already got some measurements in the system from my last inspection, but I always have the ability to overwrite or add more information. So I want to change my eave length manually and pop in some more data here. But again, we can also take advantage of a SkyMeasure report by selecting the SkyMeasure button, or in this case, we're going to work on a direct drawing. So I'm going to select direct drawing. And I'm going to do a takeoff here. And since I'm working on the gutters, I can actually perform a takeoff for the roof and capture most of the data that I'm going to need to be able to quote the gutter system as well. So I'm going to go ahead and center my property, select capture. I'm going to set my scale. See, I'm happy here. I'm going to complete my setup. Now I'm going to go ahead and just perform a quick takeoff. Now, since we're focusing on the ability to do the gutters, I'm going to do my eve length here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my inspection. Zoom in a little bit to get a little better detail. It's my one eve length. Gather the other one. Now my eve lengths are starting to come in here. I'm going to go ahead and just capture them all. Okay, and then I'm also out here, I'm actually going to count my gutter straps that I'm going to need on my property. I'm going to say I need one here, here, so the system's actually going to start counting all the gutter straps I need. Now there's multiple ways that we can perform the gutter straps. For example, if we wanted to say we needed a gutter strap for every 10 foot of eave, we can adjust that in our formula as well. Instead of counting the individual places that we need a gutter strap, we have the ability to do it multiple ways. But since I also want to offer this client a roof proposal, I'm going to take just a couple measurements here so we can also quote them a roof. Since I've done a previous inspection on this property before, I'm going to use some of those other measurements, but I want to show everyone how it's going to work to do one takeoff, but get the ability to measure, get the data I need for a couple different quotes. Now it's a little bit sloppy, but we can always adjust it if we needed to. I want to go ahead and add my pitch. My measurements get adjusted. Now I can verify everything that I've measured by selecting the highlight button here so I can see. And of course I can continue measuring if I wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and just do a little bit of hip length. And we can continue measuring on and so on and so forth. If I wanted to, say, put a patio in his customer's backyard, we can select the patio measurement here and simply find our area in the backyard that we want to be able to add the patio and just draw it out in our inspection. We can do this with anything out here that we would like to. If we did a fencing contractor, we can measure out the backyard and a fence, figure out how many posts we're going to need, and everything right within the program. Now that I've kind of finished my inspection, my takeoff tool, I'm going to go ahead and highlight everything, make sure I've got everything counted. Next step is going to be to capture my property so I can create my report. While the system's loading the PDF here, we can always add this report to our proposal. So this way we could show our customer the takeoff that we took here. So I'm going to select my drawing to see how it looks. There we go. And verify all my details in my report here as well. Of course, the next step could always be to add some observation photos if we'd like to, identify any repairs in great conditions. I just want to go ahead and double check my measurements here to make sure everything's here. So I've got some eve length. I'm going to go ahead and bump this up just a little bit. I can override my takeoff that I did. I have my gutter straps here. But if you also notice, if I wanted to offer metal roofing, my measurements are going to fill in for any metal roof, the steep slope, and for gutters as well. I'm going to go ahead and select Done now that I've completed my inspection. And now I'm going to go ahead and build a proposal offering my customer two options between the steep slope roofing and the gutters as well. So after I select proposals, I'm going to go ahead and hit Add New Estimate. I'm going to select the system that I want to be able to order a quote for. In this case, I'm going to select gutters. So we're going to say gutter assembly. Now again, we need to build the templates out for the systems. In this case here, we have, based on our gutters, we know it's going to populate my gutter amount, downspouts, gutter leaf screens, how many gutter straps we're going to need here. I'm also going to go ahead and manually say we're going to need 4 downspouts. Now again, if we need to adjust any of the measurements here, we can adjust them. So I've got my downspouts, my template for my proposal for my gutters here. I'm also going to go ahead and add a template proposal for steep slope roof replacement by selecting it. All of my numbers are filled in based off my measurements. Go ahead and select Done. And just for the sake of an example, I'm also going to offer a metal roof replacement as well. So now I've quickly, with a couple of selections, given my customer many options with from the effort of one takeoff here. So I've got all my measurements filled in for my metal template. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and adjust these numbers a little bit so it looks good on the proposal. So I'm going to go ahead and change this one to, it's all about the presentation. I have my options here. I'm going to select the Documents tab, and actually in this case I can go ahead and add some documents associated to my proposal. So I'm going to say I want a leaf guard proposal, a landmark brochure, and I'm going to select my SkyMeasure report that I created before. I'm going to update my attachments. I can see my proposals are in here now. I'm going to lay out my proposal. If I had taken some inspection photos, they would be here as an option as well. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I want to offer is my metal proposal. Then I want to do my landmark proposal, and then my gutters right below it. And of course, we're going to go ahead and add our brochures. Select Present Proposal. Now we have all of our options. Let's see what that proposal looks like if we wanted to email it off to our customer or print it. System's going to go ahead and generate that for us. So right within the quote here, we have multiple options for our customer. All of our attachments are coming through. Now, of course, we can print this out or email it to our customer right out of the system. There's our SkyMeasure report. Now, if let's say our customer wanted to purchase the landmark template and the gutters, let's go ahead and simply go ahead and sell that to the customer. going to select capture at this point, and we'll take a look and see how the material gets separated out of the system. So this way, if we order our material, our steep slope roofing material from our distributor, but we use a subcontractor for the gutters, or however we work things out here, we could take a look and see how we can place this order right through the system. Everything is separated here, so between my gutter system and my steep slope system, I've got different orders, so we can separate the two out. So now this order is ready to be submitted to our distributor for order, and then afterwards we can come back and order or generate a work order out for our sub for the gutters. Let's go ahead and view our work order. Here we go. So here's one work order for our asphalt roof, and then a separate one for the gutter system. So we're not just limited to gutters or anything like that within Direct here. We can actually help you create templates and systems for almost anything that you want to be able to offer your clients. Please feel free to reach out to our support team at any time. You can email us at support@fcscontrol.com, or you can simply call our 800 number if we select the help button here. Our information for support is 815-345-4282. And again, thank you so much for joining us today on today's webinar. If you guys have any questions or need any support, this webinar is pre-recorded. Please feel free to email us or call us with any questions or assistance that you may need. Thank you again and have a great day, and please join us in 2 weeks for our next webinar. Thank you again.